Another day, another streamer being sued. Who could have seen this coming? It has honestly gotten to the point where I don't think I could hear anything negative about pretty much like any streamer, at least like any mainstream streamer, and be surprised about it, which is really a daunting thought, considering that these guys are influencing the youth in a massive way. What's even worse is that I think I would be genuinely shocked if I ever heard a single positive thing about any of the like top 100 streamers on the planet right now. That's probably not gonna have any like lasting effects, right? Imagine being the ripe old age of 32 and being arrested and then sued for over $1 million because you wanted to play a game of hide and seek. Now, if I'm being honest, I would really hope that the vast majority of you would have quite the difficult time imagining such a thing. Just doesn't really seem to be something that most people would be able to picture themselves doing, you would think. But for some out there, hopefully just a handful, there's no imagination required because it is just their reality. Recently, the streamer Duke Dennis and a few other people have found themselves in the middle of a lawsuit that's seeking over $1 million in compensation because of a game of hide.
Duke tried to do hide and seek in a mall? I mean, listen, man. I see where they coming from. Duke Dennis, you know, trying to do content. The mall, just trying to be a mall. And like, bro, let's be for real. You can't play hide and seek in a mall, gang. Like, you can't play hide and seek in a mall, gang.
And seek that went sideways. It's a wacky world we're living in, guys. So yeah, basically, if you haven't heard, back in August of 2025, Duke Dennis and some other AMP members, which if you don't know what AMP is, basically it's like a streaming collective that Duke Dennis is also a member of, were live streaming a game of hide and seek at the Shops at River Center, which is a shopping mall in San Antonio. And from what I can tell, it's a little vague based off what I've read, but it does seem like they had permission to film this at this shopping center, but it looks like during them filming, they went outside the boundaries of what was agreed on, and they started filming in areas they weren't supposed to be, and also
that makes sense. So they agreed with the mall to be able to do hide and seek, but then they went out of the boundaries. Okay, that makes sense.
they stayed on the property past closing time. Now, that's not really what the lawsuit's about. Duke Dennis did end up getting arrested for that partially, but we'll talk about that more later. What the lawsuit is actually about is a security guard named Don White approached the streamers to tell them, hey, you can't be doing what you're doing. And because of this, a member of the AMP security team, a guy named LilShawn Clark, punched the mall security guard in the face. Why so many of these streamers hire these dudes who think that they can just punch anybody who says anything that the streamer doesn't like in the face? I don't really understand. Well, I guess I do. Most modern streamers do seem like the type of people who would like to punch a person in the face if they say something. Modern streamers, the streamer doesn't hire these dudes who think that they can just punch anybody who approach the streamers to tell them, hey, you can't be doing what you're doing. And because of this, a member of the AMP security team, a guy named LilShawn Clark, punched the mall security guard in the face. Why so many of these streamers hire these dudes who think that they can just punch anybody who says anything that the streamer doesn't like in the face? I don't really understand.
I'm gonna give you the bug. If I was hiring security, I would hope my security would punch somebody in the face. Like, bro, what are we using for? What are we using for if you ain't gonna step for me? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess I do. Most modern streamers do seem like the type of people who would like to punch a person in the face if they say something that they don't like, but are too scared to do so. So, I guess that makes perfect sense, actually. But the small security guard was punched in the face for, doing his job, and he's the one who's filing this lawsuit. Like I mentioned earlier, the lawsuit is seeking over $1 million from AMP Entertainment. And while I can't find any, hard specific
details, this what I don't be understanding, I feel like in a lot of situations, in a lot of cases, bro, people there try to use you for your name. Like, for example, Duke ain't tell his security guard, yo, punch on this man for me. You see what I'm saying? But now he's suing Duke for $1 million because his security guard was trying to do his job and punch on the dude that approached him. What? You suing Duke, though?
Details about this, it seems like Duke Dennis is who the guy is trying to get the most money from, which I guess would make sense since it seems like it kind of stemmed from an interaction between him and Duke. But multiple people and entities are named as defendants in the lawsuit, including AMP Entertainment, Duke Dennis, Kai Cenat, a producer named Henry Wolf, a content manager named Joshua Pujols, and the private security guard LilShawn Clark. The lawsuit says that Don White suffered injuries that required emergency room treatment, and that he's seeking these damages for medical expenses, pain and suffering, and and lost earning capacity. And honestly, I hope he wins every single fucking dollar of it. You guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of like the modern day streaming world, and unfortunately it seems to be full of shit like this all the time. Dudes who have either never had a real job other than streaming, or dudes who have just been streaming for so damn long that they get so out of touch and entitled, and they think they can do shit like this with absolutely no repercussions. And honestly, it's just annoying as fuck. People should not be getting assaulted for doing.
Bro, listen, Duke didn't do nothing, bro, gang. Duke didn't do nothing. Duke did nothing. It was his security.
Their job because grown-ass men, dudes in their 30s, want to live stream a game of fucking hide and seek. Now, it looks like so far nobody like representing AMP or nobody that's a part of AMP has commented on any of this. They're probably being told not to. The only person who seemed to respond to anything was the attorney that's representing the security guard for AMP, and he said that Mr. Clark has and continues to maintain his innocence pertaining to these claims of wrongdoing. While only a limited amount of evidence is currently available to the public, we believe the totality of evidence will demonstrate the allegations lack merits. Which is interesting because on top of the, you know, security guard on security guard violence, authorities are also alleging that Clark interfered with the arrest and injured an officer during the confrontation. So, I mean, it doesn't look great for the guy, I feel. Right now, he's facing multiple felony charges, including...
See, I understand all that, but what does that have to do with Duke? Duke ain't punched nobody. Duke ain't tell security to punch nobody. What does that got to do with Duke?
2 counts of assault on a peace officer and 1 count of assault on a security officer. Like I mentioned earlier, Duke Dennis was also arrested when all this went down, and he was charged with criminal trespassing and evading arrest, but I think eventually those charges were dismissed. He did have to spend some time in jail though, and when he got out and returned to streaming, he had this to say about this whole incident.
I know, you know what I'm saying, y'all want to hear about like the whole jail.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is base 44. This is the first.
But to be honest, I can't even talk about it. Like, what I can say is like the whole thing was just a big misunderstanding, miscommunication mostly. Like the thing about us, bro, the thing about me, bro, I'm not the type of content creator that's going like risk my freedom for the content. Content ain't that deep for me. Like, it's not that deep to me. It never will be. Like I said, this shit was a big ass misunderstanding, big ass miscommunication.
And really, that's all he has to say about it. He does repeat himself a few more times during this like comeback stream, but he just keeps referring to it as a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, and like, you know, maybe there was a miscommunication between like the mall security and AMP's team, but
the dude making the not understanding. Dude did not tell his security, yo, go punch on dudes. You know what I'm saying? Dude didn't say that. So like, bro, what are you talking about? Talking about, oh, Duke doesn't realize this, he doesn't realize that. He didn't tell a security guard to do that.
I feel like, if we're being honest with ourselves here, if the whole like you'd never risk your freedom for content thing is true, and it really was just a misunderstanding, the second the cops showed up, you would have been like, oh shit, this isn't worth it. Let me not evade arrest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just seems a little contradictory to me to say something like this when a security guard for the mall walked up to you and said, hey, you can't be here. You had your security punch him in the face, and then you run from the cops when they show up. Like, just based off how contradictory that is, it makes me not really trust what he has to say on this incident. Anyways, I mean, I'm curious to see what comes of this. I feel like this guy has a pretty strong leg to stand on because this news article says that the security guard, the one that was assaulted, his employment status could not immediately be determined, but state records indicate that he is no longer licensed as a security officer in Texas. So, I mean, it does seem like he lost his job, maybe lost some certification based off this incident, which, you know, surprise, surprise, definitely helps a lawsuit where you're seeking lost earning capacity. Like I said earlier though, I really do hope that this guy wins every single dollar that he's seeking. I really feel like it is time to do away with this content strategy of like basically making the public and the people trying to use the public like pawns for your content. The entitlement of streamers and really just any sort of influencer or content creator these days, but I do feel like it's the worst with streamers. It's just gotten to a point where it's out of hands.
How does Duke have entitlement when he did not do anything? One, he did not tell my security. He did not tell his security, yo, go punch on dude. He did not tell his security, like, you see what I'm saying? He didn't tell security to do anything. The dude walked up. to Duke, right? Approaching him to say something. And as his security guard should do, I would hope security would do this. The dude got rid of the problem. He punched on him. He punched on him. You see what I'm saying? Maybe he took that as a threat. Somebody walking up to Duke. You see what I'm saying?
Again, like I mentioned earlier, the idea of a guy being assaulted for just doing his job because a bunch of grown men wanted to play hide and seek in a mall after it closed is truthfully, like, depressing. And I just really don't understand where these streamers get this sort of ego. I guess it's because most of them just surround themselves with yes men constantly. They're just not used to being told no, and again, like I said earlier, a lot of them have never worked a job other than just being famous on the internet, which I feel like has got to be bad for you as an adult. And it just leads to seeing shit like this from streamers all the time. I mean, how many times have we heard about a streamer's bodyguard punching somebody for no reason? It's just out of hand, and I've said this before with other similar cases where other streamers or influencers got sued. This is the only thing that's gonna matter to them. Like, streamers don't care about bad publicity. I feel like most streamers these days, honestly, like, their fame is based off of bad publicity, at least to some extent. Most of them don't care about catching a misdemeanor or a YouTuber making a video about them. They care about money, and this is the only shit that's ever gonna make it stop. So I mean, I'm all for it. Maybe one day content creation can just be normal shit again. I am not very hopeful for that though. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Like I said, maybe this was all just one giant misunderstanding, one big miscommunication at first, but I don't really think it's an accident that all of these major streamers keep hiring the security guards who are willing to assault people for them. And like, yeah, I get it. That's kind of the point of a security guard to an extent, but when like a mall cop is saying, hey, you can't be
Hey, bro, I want my security guard to punch somebody for me.
here, and somehow that turns into him getting punched in the face. Yeah, maybe you're not hiring the right people, and I have to assume that's probably on purpose. And you know, look, maybe I'm just jaded, maybe I'm biased, maybe my perspective is warped, and maybe I'm looking at this too harshly because I haven't heard a single positive thing about a streamer in like 3 years. Maybe, I don't know. This shit just happens way too often for me to think that it's just one big coincidence and it's all happening accidentally. I'm curious to see how this lawsuit plays out, and you know, maybe one day there won't have to be a new streamer lawsuit every 2 weeks. Maybe we can just be normal again. Fingers crossed. See ya.